I remember about junior high school, I they this was the birth of multiple choice tests, and I decided to study multiple choice tests, and I figured out that who made up these tests? Generally teachers. Okay, so the interesting thing that I studied a lot of is how did they imagine up the wrong answers? Well, I decided that normally what they did is they would write the correct answer down in a random place, and then they had to make up 3 wrong ones. So the teachers were trying to have it be true that there were some mistakes you could make that would land you on a wrong answer. So they weren't completely random. In fact, I ended up developing a family of rules. How to pass a multiple choice test. And I remember I had almost 45 or 50 rules. And my favorite rule was the one I used when the answers were sentences. You see 4 sentences and you have to pick the correct one. And some of my rules were very definite and some were very vague, okay? I'll give you an example of a definite rule. If the teacher changed 1 digit to make a wrong answer, it was very easy to see by looking at the 4 numbers which one was the right answer, because it was the only one which the other 3 were some simple transformation on. So, see, you can say, another way to look at it is if you say, look at the least significant digit of these 4-digit answers. You might find the 3 of them are the same and 1 is different. Then look at the next digit and the next and the next. And the main point was to put yourself into the mind of the person who's making up this test. They have the right answer, and say they write it down in a random place. Now they have to make 3 wrong ones. Well, generally, they hope that one of their wrong ones will be something that you could make a mistake on and land on a wrong one. So they might change 1 digit by 1. So this was one of 50 algorithms I dreamt up, which is just look at the least significant digits. You'll find 3 1s and a 7, okay? Look at the next digit. You'll find, say, 2 2s, a 4 and a 5. And the next digit, you'll find 3 6s, and so on. And there's one answer that is what the predominant one was in each digit. And because if they write the right answer down and keep transforming it, it's very easy to look at the 4 answers and to pick the winner by that analysis.
So what happened once you took a test and you bet somebody else that you get absolutely, you beat that other person, but it was something to do with you put your name on it or something like that?
Oh, okay. Okay, that test was, this is earlier when I was still in grammar school. I had a friend named Kenneth Mackenzie. We were both interested in mathematics. He later became an engineer, that's all I know. So we used to compete with each other. And one time I bet him that I would do better on the next test than him. Then I realized when it was only 10 questions, that was a stupid thing because he usually got all of them right, and so did I, which meant I didn't do better than him. So what happened on that test was, as the teacher had lectured us on what the subject was the day before, you know, and I realized that she's explaining one thing and she's just dead wrong, you know. She had a misunderstanding of something. And it turned out one of the questions was the thing she had that misunderstanding. I didn't bother telling her at the time. But then I was torn. Which should I put down? The answer she thinks is correct, or the answer I know is correct? Because both of them were there. And so as my typical nerdish self decided, I'll put down which answer I know is correct, because maybe that night she discovered she was wrong and she now knew it. No such luck. So, and I had bet my friend I would do better than him, which was a stupid thing on 10 questions. Okay. So what happened is I went up to the teacher to explain to her why she was in fact wrong on that. She finally snatches the paper from me and says, I'll give this back to you tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow it was marked correct, except I had the same score, 90%. I said, what's going on? Didn't you update my score? I didn't realize that California had passed a law teachers had to grade on a curve. That meant they had to take all the grades and do an analysis of them and then give each person their A, B, C. And if someone changed his paper, they would have to do it all over again, which was work. Okay. So later on I understood why she was so fanatic about my score not changing. So she said, look, here, up in the upper right-hand corner where you were supposed to put your name down, if you look at it closely, you'll see you've misspelled it. Well, I wrote it sloppily, so I said, okay, if that's going to count, I said, then you mean there's 11 problems, and I only got 10 of them, or 9 of them or something, 10 of them. So then I should have 91% instead of 90. I'm still thinking about winning this bet where my friend he missed one question too. So she takes the paper and glares at me and says, get out of here now, something like that. Okay. So later on I learned all this stuff about, first of all, California was a marvelous state to grow up in because they were more or less an intelligent state, if that's possible. And they did a study where one of the things they did was they took a class and they took all the report cards that they got at the end of a semester, and they made new report cards and gave those to a teacher. And what they did is they assigned the names of the students at random. Okay? The next semester, everybody got the same grade as the report card that came in, with almost no exceptions. In other words, an A student who they put his name on, an F student, got an F or a D instead of his A or her A, and so on. So the point is, teachers, being overloaded and so on, and having to grade things, take a lot of shortcuts because they have to.